Alright guys, so we're taking a look at the Nano tank right now, and basically what made this guy kind of come together is it's been sitting around dry for the last couple of months, and I was in the process of taking down the 220 gallon to make room for the water table, and needed a place to store some of the corals that I found in the tank when I tore it apart. And also I wanted to keep the clownfish out of the frag system, and actually wanted to see if I could get them to breed. Now currently the heater that I have in the system is just barely enough to keep the water warm in the summer months, so I'm definitely going to have to do something different as far as the heater is concerned for the winter months. Currently I'm running the AI Prime from the water box on this tank because the other one had busted, and then I got a chance to take a look at the other lights from MaxSpec. So currently running those lights on there right now. Still not 100% certain whether or not I'm going to keep those lights on the water box, but for right now the AI Prime is being used here on the Evo. This is a 12 gallon tank, I believe. It's an all-in-one system. I have a whole build series on this in the past. If you guys want to check that out, I'll put a link in the description below. But it's kind of just serving as a little interesting tank to have on the desk for the time being. This Lobo right here, right now, doesn't look as colorful as it has been. I did a water change this morning, and it seems like it's a little upset about that. But for the most part, the tank has been kind of interesting to have another tank up here and going. Probably in the next couple of months or so, I'm going to start conditioning this tank to be similar to the water box. And I'm going to take all these corals in here and move them into there, and then try to see if I can get these clownfish to breed, because that's something that I've always wanted to do and I'm very interested in doing. The original plan for this tank, and I actually was so close from executing it, but for right now we're going to wait a little bit longer and see what happens, see if I can get these guys to breed. If I can, maybe I'll move them into a little bit more suitable of a tank for breeding, but for right now this is just kind of fun to have this on the desk and something to look at when I'm editing videos or doing the podcast, so it's been fun. Alright, so right now gonna take some it's kind of hard to pick up with the lighting, but I got some Reef Nutrition TDO. This is the medium size. I'm gonna go ahead, give these guys a little bit of food, see if we can get the starfish to come out. That's quite a bit of food, and they're absolutely acting like they're starving, which isn't the case. It doesn't look like Mr. Starfish is coming out to play today. I do have some pretty cool footage of him coming out. When I first added him to the tank, he was pretty aggressively eating. He seems like, as now that he's been in the smaller tank and not having as much competition, that he seems like he's been pretty fed up, or fed well. So as far as tank inhabitants right now, I have the two clowns, I have a serpent starfish, a couple of hermit crabs, a couple of very large snails, and there's one hermit crab in there that's absolutely a beast, and I'm not exactly sure what he is. I do also have a very large blue-legged hermit crab in there as well. But if you guys have any idea as to what this hermit crab is, I'll show a close-up shot of him right now. Right now he's currently working right there. He's moving around pretty good, but he's a very well-behaved, large hermit crab, and I'm not exactly sure where I got him. I had to have been in one of my larger orders where he just kind of got mixed in, but he's very interesting looking. I'd love to have more of him in the future. So we have the two clowns. One is a snowflake, the other one is a black ice snowflake. As he has gotten older, he was very mocha when he was younger, but as he's grown, he has really darkened up quite a bit, and he also has like black lipstick on, which is pretty interesting. I'm hoping that at some point these guys breed. When they were in the 220 gallon, they became very, very sight oriented and were just holding to one spot, and I actually was half expecting to see some eggs when I pulled them out of the tank, but as it stands right now, they haven't bred. The tank temp here is a little cooler than it probably should be for breeding, and I haven't been feeding them quite that regularly. I probably would move out all of the live rock and the corals before I actually started to try to breed them, but at some point I'd like to attempt that. As far as corals, there's quite a few acans in here. I do have a Lobo that is a little upset at the moment. Just did a water change this morning and he's looking a little upset. I have some blue xenia and some mushrooms, and that's about it. This is just kind of leftovers from what I had in the 220 gallon as I was tearing up. This is just random stuff that I had found, so pretty interesting nonetheless. So as far as snails that came out of the 220 gallon, as you can see right here, this is a normal size snail, and this guy and this guy are out of the 220 gallon, and they are absolutely huge. Now these are probably the oldest snails that I've ever had. They're about 2 to 3 years old. That is probably the longest I've ever kept a snail. There's actually 3 of them in this tank. I don't know, one's on the back wall currently, but these guys don't move a whole lot, or at least I don't see them move a whole lot. Usually in the morning they're in a different spot, so they do a lot of their moving around at night, but I have never had snails this big, and that's my thumb right next to it. So huge snails. They grew pretty big in the 220 gallon over the course of a couple of years. Alright guys, that's going to do it for the look at the Nano tank. I at one point, I had a plan for this tank, and as it stands right now, currently using it for something else, but who's not to say down the road that I won't try to execute that plan. But for right now, I'm going to keep that under my hat, and maybe we'll talk about that in a future video. If you enjoyed this one, make sure you hit the thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that like button. I'll see you next time right here with a brand new video.